Welcome back. My name is Monica Gildahl. I am your facilitator today in learning basic hypnosis. The style of hypnosis that this class will focus on is direct suggestion. Part of the pre-assignment for attending a 3-day class for the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association Annual Conference, that's the Hypno Expo in Daytona Beach, Florida, this May 2016, coming up next week. This is a pre-assignment. Chapter 101, what is hypnosis? The word hypnosis comes from the Greek word hypnos, pertaining to sleep. The word hypnagogic is the sensation of coming from a waking state and being half asleep, half awake as we pass into sleep. And as we rise from sleep to wake, we pass through the hypnopompic stage. So hypnosis pertains to sleep, but it is not that. Hypnosis is that in-between place where we daydream. And if we look at it from a scientific perspective, we can look at depth. Later on in this basic class, we will discuss depth and quality of response. It is certainly relevant because when we are in theta wave activities, we tend to be doing what I'm doing with you right now, thinking, reading, articulating. And when we go into the alpha wave states, which are slower brainwave activities, we tend to enter reverie, daydreaming, the time of creative breakthrough. Going further into the relaxed place, we tend to find a sensation known in science as the theta wave activities. That tends to be the dreaming we do while we're asleep. And then in the standard bands of brainwave training, there are the delta waves, which are the deep sleep waves of no dreams. When we're doing hypnosis, we go to hover in that alpha place, the place of 8 to 12 hertz, between the dreaming place of sleep and the waking place of logic and cognitive activities. So hypnosis looks like sleep. Let me give you an example. I am going to do a demonstration of self-hypnosis. I assume a comfortable position. I put my hands on my thighs, my feet flat on the floor. I position my eyes slightly above normal eye height. I take a good deep breath. And I allow my eyes to fix on that spot slightly above normal eye height. My body may start showing signs of hypnosis that a trained hypnotist will recognize, and I want you to learn those signs for this class. For now, I'm going to take a few minutes and put myself into trance so that you can see what it looks like, kind of like daydreaming in sleep. Now I'll be silent for a few moments while I go and do the inside job. Now I'm in a state of deep relaxation. When I open my eyes, you'll notice they look a bit sleepy. That's because I've gone a bit out of my waking state. My face may have changed a bit. My shoulders may have changed in their posture. My breathing may have shifted. My neck might have rolled around a bit. The first muscles that humans gain control over are the neck muscles. And we brag, oh look, the baby's lifting his or her head. Yeah, and then we flip from side to side, and by the time we're running, we better have books on the cabinets. So when we're doing hypnosis, you may notice that I've touched the back of the person's neck. What I'm doing when I do that is I'm assessing the muscle tension in the two muscles that run up the back of the neck. There's another way I check for relaxation, and that's with the hand. I sometimes hold the hand and check for warmth and limpness in the wrist. Limpness as in so relaxed, I can grasp the thumb and it wiggles like a loose, limp noodle or a loose, limp dish rag. So what is hypnosis? It's not sleep, but it's related to it. It's a state of half wake, half sleep, in which your unconscious mind opens more fully. Hypnosis is any method that you use to create a bridge of communication between your conscious and your unconscious minds. Hypnosis is a natural state. It's something that you do automatically. You did it when you learned how to walk, drive a car, ride a bike. It's one of those amazing things that comes if you've ever had a moment of breakthrough creativity or peak athletic experience or a sense of just saying the right thing at the right time. There's this flow of energy that happens when your inner mind and your outer mind are aligned. You tend to hit that at which you aim, so be clear about that which it is that you desire. Hypnosis is a very familiar state. I think as you practice this class that you're going to discover you do it a lot and you just haven't cultivated language for it prior to today. Or perhaps you have different language and you can teach me that language so I can learn more about how you use the powers of your conscious and your unconscious minds. Here's an example of being in a trance state or in hypnosis. Perhaps if you've driven any amount of time, you've been driving on the highway and noticed that you really didn't notice the past half hour and that you're going past a very familiar exit. That one. Oh, my exit. Yes, and perhaps you won't even notice driving unless something happens. Someone darts out into the road, an animal is there, there's an accident on the road, and all of a sudden, I know I do it. I become aware that I have driven for quite some time without my conscious mind paying attention. So I'll make fun of my conscious mind and call it my peanut brain because it has very certain things that it does. And then there's the rest of the mind, which takes care of heartbeat and respiration and digestion and falling in love. Yes, there are these very powerful aspects of who and what you are, and this hypnosis class is intended to help you learn to align more fully between your conscious and your unconscious minds. So, you do all kinds of things automatically, and think for a moment, if you would, about the amount of time it took for you to learn some of these things. Going up and down a flight of stairs, yeah, there's the baby gate for a while. And if you have to relearn how to walk and do the stairs, you might learn that it's a little bit more complex than what we remember when we lope up and down the stairs, skipping 2 or 3 stairs at a time. There are things we do on automatic, and that is of interest to us as hypnotists. So you may choose to use this course objectively and learn how to hypnotize others, or you may use this course as it was intended, which is to develop your own powers so that they serve you more fully, and it generalizes to the lives of those you contact. I think. Yes, I'm a thinking again. That stuff. I'm a thinking this study is best done experientially. And I would like if you were to practice the exercises as they come upon you, so you learn new things about yourself. And as you learn these new things about yourself, most likely you will find ways to apply them to all your other relationships as well. Trust yourself. You're smart. You are going to learn to recognize the signs of hypnosis and how to use hypnosis for yourself and others. Some people will be more slower or more difficult than others, and some people, they just flow right down, dropping into those levels of creativity because they want it, they like it, and they are eager for it. It's your job as a hypnotist to build the expectancy so the person is quite eager to experience hypnosis. Now, the problem with hypnosis, what is it? You know, it has a history with images of strange and mysterious powers, faith healers, sideshows, semi-charismatic leaders, fully charismatic leaders. Human suggestion is so natural, it is found in all cultures throughout history. And yet, the ability to harness your own powers for your benefit and the good of the community is so powerful that Hollywood likes to play upon the myths and use it for foundations of movies. And then the phone rang, and the subject picked up the phone, and someone whistled a tune, and the person went and did whatever crime they're supposed to do. That would work if the person had a moral value and appreciated the meaning and value of doing their crime, but for the other person, they might fully reject that suggestion. In hypnosis, you are always in complete control at some level. For the purpose of this course, the term hypnosis will be used to define any technique which promotes direct or automatic communication between that which you are consciously aware of and the subconscious, emotional, imaginative mind, the warehouse of your learning and knowledge. Inside you is a knowing. It knows everything about you, and it knows that it knows. Hypnosis is a tool that, when used correctly, can bring astonishing and often rapid results through simply learning to relax. Then, add the focus of attention on a specific goal with clarity of intent, present tense, and subjective ownership. Wonders await those who explore the mysteries of the mind. So what is a hypnotist? I'm a hypnotist, and so are you. I want to train you how to be a hypnotist that uses your mind powers in ways that please you. For example, you've already trained yourself how to walk, I'm assuming, how to ride a bike, how to drive a car, and so you've already trained yourself thoroughly on how to do certain things automatically. That means you're already using hypnosis, which is a natural learning state. There's a lot of misinformation about the power and the nature of suggestion. Suggestion and response is how we interact. We say yes, or we say no. Or we go, I don't know yet. Show me what you got. So a hypnotist is a person trained to give detailed attention to semantics, voice inflection, body movement, and generating mental expectancy. A skilled hypnotist, and I expect all of you to do really well with this training because it's fun. A skilled hypnotist has learned methods of bypassing the critical faculty, which is your logical mind, and establishing selective thinking directly into the subconscious mind. The hypnotist's job is to use suggestion to excite the imagination and develop mental expectancy in the subject. You can observe suggestion in action through repetition, emotional baiting, direct, implied, and embedded messages of advertising, education, marketing, and politics. So what are the most common misconceptions about hypnosis? Well, the first is, since you're doing it all the time, how come you don't know about it? Probably because of the many other misconceptions about hypnosis, which include things like, ooh, the hypnotist has some Strange, unusual powers look into my eyes. That is a good method, and the I method we'll be using repeatedly. The most concerning part for most people is that people are afraid they will give up control. I'm just afraid if I work with a hypnotist, I'll give up control and he or she will make me do something that I normally wouldn't do. Well, that's just not so. I couldn't make you do anything you wouldn't want known. At a hypnosis conference some years back, I watched as the old master, Ormond McGill, what a lovely man, gave instruction on how people can reject suggestion. If a suggestion is given to someone where it objects to their personal, moral, or religious beliefs, their values, what's meaningful to them, that person will just outright reject the suggestion. And he picked a lovely woman dressed with lace to here and lace to here, and he gave her a suggestion that when he gave a whatever signal, maybe it was the tug on the ear, the twitch on the nose, the pull on the tie, all these post-hypnotic suggestions, that she would begin to disrobe. She was quite a lovely, mature woman. And when he gave her the post-hypnotic suggestion, she began to disrobe. I was in the audience. And we had big eyes as she began to unbutton and remove, and he turned around to see what was going on. Oh, madam, whatever are you doing? She was a nudist at home. She had absolutely no objections to taking off her clothes, and certainly not in front of other people because she was a nudist. So you can't get people to do the things that they normally wouldn't do because it's against their personal, moral, and religious beliefs. And that is the style of hypnosis that I will be sharing with you during this entire series of coursework. Here's another one. I might get stuck. Stuck. How could I get stuck in sleep? Well, maybe if I was depressed, and since this program is for healthy people seeking to improve some aspect of their life, if you are in depression, I highly recommend you have a conversation with a mental health worker, perhaps a physician, and look at options. Hypnosis can be a good adjunct to those things. It's not the sole and only service that a person dealing with depression can benefit from. So I might get stuck. Okay. I was working with a group, and there was an Italian family. He was Italian. She was Puerto Rican. She was not Italian. They were from New York. And when the class finished, I began to pack up my gear and depart from the studio I was providing classes in. And he came up and said, I think I'm going to sue you. And I said, whatever have I done? He said, my wife's stuck. She won't come back. I walked back into the classroom, and there she was, out on the floor. She looked very peaceful. Her face was closed, eyes closed, face was limp. She was breathing deep and steady, and I said, I think she's enjoying it so much that she forgets that she can do this at home. And as I count from 5 to 1, she'll remember, I can do this at home anytime I like. And she's going to come back to waking state. And I did the 5 to 1 count, the emergence. 5 comes all the way back to full waking state. 4, feeling wonderfully good all over. 3, calmly, easily, gently, beautifully. 2, with a good deep breath, eyes open, feeling good all over. Number 1, eyes open, reach out and stretch, feeling wonderfully good all over. And tell me about that. Kind of surprise yourself, huh? Yes, exactly that. She was so relaxed. She never heard the first count out. She just figured she'd hang out there until she was all done, and it was almost like sleep, but it wasn't, and she never heard my count out. So, can a person get stuck in hypnosis? Highly unlikely. In my, 57 now, 2016, I've been exploring hypnosis since I was preteen. I have never seen it. Have people fallen asleep in hypnosis? Absolutely. And they snore. But in sleep, when I count from 5 to 1 and do an emergence, the person does not emerge themselves from sleep. They continue snoring and sleeping. So there's a difference between sleep and hypnosis. Also, one of the very interesting ways to, if a person's not wanting to leave trance, because they're feeling so peaceful there are the suggestions I learned from Ormond McGill, who suggested I whisper in the ear. There are several things that can be whispered in the ear to a person who gets stuck. One is, that's okay, you can stay as long as you like. After the first hour is complete, we charge double because you have to pay for the person that you just bumped off the schedule. I've had people float over into that time because they didn't mind and they wanted to stay. Another way, I believe Orman told me about this one too, is he whispered in the ear to someone who had been in a wonderfully relaxed state of relaxation known as hypnosis. She had been there so long, perhaps her bladder would like to have a little break and go to the bathroom, and she immediately roused herself and went to the bathroom, not in the chair. So I have heard and never experienced of people who use a vinyl chair because they have had people lose bladder or bowel control. That has not been an issue for me. I usually have a nice plush chair because I pay attention to my clients' needs and they pay attention to what their needs are as well, which is what I'm going to be having you doing. You're going to get deeper and deeper into awareness of what works, what doesn't work, and if you choose to be a hypnotist, which you're already doing by watching this, then I'm going to have a good time learning how you use these skills for yourself and those around you. What's another thing? Oh, I might do things I normally wouldn't do. I think I've already mentioned that one. No. Oh, I might tell my secrets. This is fun. People lie. Imagine that. People lie. And they lie in hypnosis too, because hypnosis is not a truth serum. No. Hypnosis is one of those things that if a person's about to misinform you, there are several things they generally do. The first thing they do is they stop breathing. There's an in-breath that happens. They stop breathing, and you see the eyes do some flutter, flutter, maybe blink, blink, and a little movement around the eye, and then maybe they say something. But what really happened, from what it looks like from the outside, is that the person has had a thought. It's not allowed. They stuff it down, becomes the elephant under the rug, and then they say something else. They misinform me. Why? Maybe they're misinforming themselves too. Or maybe I'm not supposed to know. Do I work with military? Of course. I live in a military town. Do I ask questions that are inappropriate, like, who are you doing business with? No. When I am asking questions and working with the military, there's lots of things I have no need to know, and I'll do things like, okay, so the pain that you're dealing with, the discomfort that we're getting rid of, when does it begin? When you wake up in the morning, when you finish eating and go out the door, maybe when you picked up your briefcase, when you get to work, when you're driving to work, when you walk in the door, when you sit at your desk, when you get up to answer the phone or use a fax, or when you walk into a briefing, or when you're halfway through the day for lunch. When does the discomfort start? And see, those are the kind of questions that I need to know so I can observe what's going on in the person in front of me. That person needs to know so they can become aware when their triggers are. And they don't even need to tell me those times. They just need to know in their own minds. And so there are ways to work with people who have their secrets, and we need to honor them because they are government secrets and they're pledged to protect those things. And we can still help those kind of men and women overcome pain and discomfort without getting them to tell any secrets that would adversely impact their career or our national security. Now here's one. I might get hurt. Well, the same things that would hurt you in waking state will hurt you in hypnosis. So behave with prudence, and you'll find that you don't get hurt and you don't hurt your clients. Here's one. I will be unconscious, unaware, unable to move, think, speak, say, or hear anything. Well, that would be a useless state now, wouldn't it? When we work at hypnosis, there tends to be a heightening of the senses. For example, I remember the first time in my basic class and certification training in 1995, the first time I had the instructor use me for a demonstration subject, and that was Jerry Kine at Omni Hypnosis. What a lovely man. Once I was so relaxed, I became aware of how much sound I could hear from around me. Fascinating. And then I noticed, oh, it's that same thing I do when I'm half awake and half asleep in the morning. Yeah, I've been doing hypnosis a long time, and I can smell my neighbor's coffee brewing. And it makes me think of my own coffee pot. Right, so when I go into trance, I notice that my senses are heightened. Why? Because they're who and what I am biologically. And when I relax enough, my senses can serve me really well. So I'm always aware at some point. And then there's my favorite one. This is the one, I can't be hypnotized. Okay, you can't be hypnotized. There are three types of people. Is it three? I think it is, that I cannot hypnotize. They are the insane, the senile, and those below the age of 5. Maybe a little bit younger. They can't count from 5 to 1 backwards because they have no attention span. If you have an attention span and you can count from 5 to 1 backwards, then you have sufficient attention in order to explore the wonderful experience of hypnosis. In fact, it's been found that the more intelligent the person, the easier it is for them to enter trance because they are generally people who are more self-reflective and aware of what's going on within their own skin. So the misconceptions about the natural state of hypnosis can elicit a fear response to hypnosis in members of the general public who don't understand it, or what can be done with hypnosis to improve personal, professional, creative, scholastic, political experiences. Hypnosis can be used to restore and relax, a measure of relaxation necessary for excellence in performance. So as a hypnotist, it's my job to educate you, and it's going to be your job to educate your clients as to the myths and misconceptions about hypnosis. Here's the facts. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. It's not something I do to you. I'll offer you tools, and then you have to do it to yourself. And every client you have will be doing the same thing. So as a hypnotist, from my model of teaching, we are helpers. We're not dominators, although this particular class is about direct suggestion. And here's the percentages, anecdotally, that people have a response. 30% of the people get what they need in one session. They're quick. 30% of the people get what they need in 2 to 6 sessions. They got some issues. They stop, they start. They get it. 30% of the people can stop and start for years. They're very slow. I might talk fast, but I change slow. Why? Because I'm stubborn and I'm smart. I go into trance easy, and I want to understand it. I don't move like a go-fast boat. I'm like an ocean liner. I take a long time turning because I have long-term plans that I'm moving on. So you'll have to find out for yourself what your style of response is. Is it fast? Is it slower? Is it really slow? Or is it not right now, which is the last 10%? And there are 10% of people who don't want it right now. Why? They don't want it for themselves. Their mother wants them to quit smoking. Their wife wants them to, whatever. The husband wants them to take off 50 pounds. Oh, yes. So I'm being a little stereotypic there, but those are the kind of things that we run into as hypnotists when we get a phone call from someone concerned about a loved one wanting us to wave the magic wand and change that person to something that they don't want to be. So all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. It's something you do to yourself. In hypnosis, the subject becomes more aware of their senses than in their normal full waking state. Rather than restricting the senses, they are expanded and magnified. Inside each individual is a knowing that knows everything about that person. Inside you is a knowing that knows everything about you. And it knows that it knows. A hypnotized person cannot be made to do anything against his or her personal, moral, or religious beliefs. The subject won't tell any secrets he or she doesn't want to know. And people in hypnosis laugh, cry, move, open and close their eyes, talk, think, and feel just like people in full waking state. When you are hypnotized, you are always aware at some level. You must be able to do this so that you can hear. And the suggestions that you are seeking your solutions with can be heard and applied. You must be able to see with the mind's eye. And if not, we have to use the other senses. Hear with the mind's ear, listen with that inner ear, and perceive with the inner knowing. Sometimes we just know. And how do we do that? Well, There's the belly brain, and there's the chest brain, and then there's the brain in the head. We'll be talking about all those different types of brains, the nerve bundles in the body as we go throughout this course. And know that all of these different brains with their different neuronal firing and those different neurotransmitter are all the same in the brain, in the heart, where there's less of the nerve bundles than in the neocortex, and then in the gut, which is the oldest of the brains. And perhaps you have the feeling of knowing it by gut. It's that gut instinct. Businessmen and women like to use the gut instinct because they just know it's an intuition. And although the hypnotic methods focused in this manual will focus on relaxation, that's not the only form of trance there is. There's the high-speed hypnotic experiences of professional athletes where they shift themselves into a zone of peak performance, a flow that transcends what we would normally encounter in our what we call the normal waking state. I am hoping to help you find your own zone of peak performance through this training. Now, the only time someone fails to emerge fully, when requested to do so, is when that individual is enjoying relaxation so much that a return to the stresses and strains of life is postponed voluntarily by the subject. You can't get stuck in hypnosis any more than you get stuck in natural sleep. So what does happen in hypnosis? The critical faculty of the mind, the logic, gets bypassed. The imaginative qualities of the mind are activated, or we open to our awareness of them. The critical faculty is the judging, logical part of your mind. The unconscious mind is about emotion, memory. All the details of everything you have ever experienced are there in the memory banks of your unconscious mind. So how do we get you to open up your mind and let a hypnotic suggestion in? Well, the first thing is we have to bypass logic with imagination. How do we do this? We must establish rapport. It's very easy to do when we enjoy the company of another person. So when rapport is established sufficiently between people and the trust has developed, then there's a possibility of exploring a deeper level of profound relaxation, which is the purpose of direct suggestion for this course. Through this relaxation, a more direct communication between the conscious and the unconscious minds unfolds, opens itself to you, and with this direct communication or communion with your inner wisdom, you reestablish an ability to self-regulate yourself into relaxed feelings of well-being. And what does the hypnotist do to help? Well, a hypnotist's job is to create a safe, bounded and unbounded environment within which the process of growth and its unfolding development can expand in ways that transcend the wisdom of the members physically present. Now, what does that mean? I have some underlying assumptions meaningful for this training. I am not a material monist, I am a spiritual monist. I believe all things come from a divine presence, a creative thinking substance, a creative intelligence, if you will, however you want to call it. God, goddess, life, nature. I'm a trained scientist. I know how to use statistics. I also know that my spiritual practices include being a part of a living world. So for me, nature is minded. And I'm a part of a living intelligence through which I feel I connect with my clients, my students, and when we establish that bounded, unbounded, creatively safe space for both of us, something bigger than the people in the room unfolds. It's wonderful. Rapport between me and you, between you and your clients, can come about through direct suggestion, which is what we're studying, waking suggestions, oh, we'll be doing that too, and many natural occurrences such as meditation, prayer, running, dance, and it leaves us with a sense of well-being, a connectedness, compassion. So you're already familiar with hypnosis because you do it all the time. When you are under stress, Your logical mind yields to the emotional pressures. Thinking deeply. Yes, you can have creative breakthroughs when you're pondering for a very long time. You think of the creative breakthroughs from people like the man who found and observed the benzene ring through watching flames in a fireplace, or Einstein with his watching trains passing in a station and coming up with his theory of relativity. When we are thinking deeply and we allow that thinking to sink in and dwell there in that place, that unconscious and superconscious mind, amazing things emerge from the half asleep, half awake place. It can happen when you're driving, and meditative things break through, reading. Anytime the deep creative resources of the inner mind are called forth. You are particularly sensitive to suggestion and response in times of repetition, intense emotion, powerful longings, and feelings of identification. And as you participate in this course, you are becoming more and more aware of how your response to the exercises changes with repetition. In hypnosis, you will know everything going on around you and know that you know. You will know what you're saying, hearing, and doing, and your perception capacities will become enhanced. So does your ability to focus and defocus. The sounds of the world around you will become background sounds that reassure you all's well in the outside world. You are safe. To go deeper into hypnosis, imagine that the sky is blue and all things float away like little puffy cloud on a beautiful day. Should anything occur which requires your immediate attention, you are immediately alert and ready to respond with full capacity. For now, just float, drift, sink, become aware. While practicing hypnosis, you can speak, move, laugh, cry, blink, yawn. Oh, excuse me. Because you are always in control at some level. Just like any form of exercise, every time you practice self-hypnosis, you achieve better response. Now, trust yourself. Did you have any desire to yawn in response to my yawn? That is an indirect suggestion. First I said the word, and then I did the process. I waited, and I did the process again. I was looking to see, did you have an immediate response to the word, that sensation in the back of the mouth that makes the mouth open? And then I showed you what to do, and then I did it again a little bit later to see, are you a person that has a slower response to suggestion? Yeah, if you're more stubborn like me, it might take you a little longer to pick up the suggestion. And if you are very resistant, normally I'll put you to work. I'll have you hand out papers and tell me when I'm talking too fast, and then you're working for me next thing you know it. And we have fun because hypnosis and the sharing of suggestions creates a great rapport and can create great fun in the relationships between yourself and others. So perhaps you're curious. The more you relax, the deeper you go. The deeper you go, the more you relax. The better the response, the deeper you go into your own knowing. Each and every time, easier, deeper, faster, and better than the times before. And it calls you. And you listen. 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 Deep inside, there's wisdom. I'm talking to you now. And you're curious. Perhaps. So curious. All people have a natural ability to respond to hypnosis. The quality of response varies from individual to individual, moment to moment. The only things that prevent full response to hypnosis are fear, misinformation, and lack of trust. Once we review and erase all the misconceptions and false beliefs about hypnosis, no power on earth can prevent you from responding to positive and helpful suggestions for relaxation. When the body relaxes, the whole system can function more fully. So in hypnosis, you are always in complete control. At some level, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. difference between hypnosis and meditation. With hypnosis, we use the relaxation of meditation, and then we use that relaxed state to harness the mind. So if meditation's point is peace of mind, shaking the tree and letting the birds fly away so my thoughts are clear, if meditation is imagining the blue sky and the little puffy cloud representing the thoughts and I'm letting the wind blow them away, those are very simple meditations that start adding suggestion. A more simple meditation might be listen to the sound of my breathing. And we can find wonderful relaxed state just listening to the breathing. We will practice breathing exercises during this coursework. So meditation and hypnosis are very similar in the goal of peace and relaxation. The difference is the purpose of intent. So if the purpose of meditation is nothingness, with hypnosis we want to go to that nothingness, and then we want to add suggestions so that, as Thoreau suggested, we can aim ourselves truly and hit that at which we aim. This is approximately the end of Chapter 101, the first chapter, about what hypnosis is and is not. I'm going to take a short break and come back with Chapter 2, Chapter 102, the background of hypnosis. Thank you.